Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be showing you one of my current favorite dinners. It's a salmon bowl. It's not super complicated. There are some parts that take a little bit of time. However, it is so worth it, so stick with me. And if you want to try this, I will put all the recipes below. You first start off by making rice. You can do this on the stove. You can do this with a rice cooker. I'm using my Instapot because that's what I have. So you're just gonna wash your rice as normal. Make sure that the water's going clear. And then you're gonna put it into your Instant Pot. And I watched a ton of recipes on this. It's fairly simple in the Instant Pot. So I added 2 cups of rice washed and then 1.5 cups of chicken stock. And one thing I do like to do with my chicken stock when I open it is go ahead and write the date on it so that I know when it was open and I can either freeze it or use it before it goes bad. So you're gonna put all that in with salt and pepper and a little bit of oil. And then a little bit of butter. Not too much, just a little bit. And then you're going to put your lid on and then make sure that your valve is set to sealed so that it won't vent out. You do want it to come to pressure. And then what I have found to be the best is you click the pressure button and you want it set to 4 minutes. You want to take the keep warm off and then just let it start. And then what it's going to do is come to pressure, cook for 4 minutes, and then you want it to naturally release the pressure. And all that means is you just don't click the little toggle on top that releases the steam when it's finished. So while your rice cooks, the next thing you want to do is actually prepare your cucumbers. You do have to cut these up and you want to get them in salt so that it will pull all the moisture out. What we're going to do is do like a cucumber marinade, and you want all the water that you can get to pull out of the cucumbers so that you can add the marinade and the cucumbers will soak them up. So actually my sister, this is her recipe, she cut them up and then I added some salt and just mixed them up, and we just let that sit for about an hour to draw out as much moisture as it could. You don't have to be super precise here, but you do want to use a good bit of salt and you want to try to make sure each cucumber is pretty decently covered. Then you're just going to cover it with some saran wrap and put it in the fridge for an hour. And I just wanted to show you what it looks like while the Instant Pot is coming up to pressure. It is going to release some steam until the valve actually pops up, and then that's when there's enough pressure to close the seal. So it had been about 25 minutes and the rice was finished. You can see that the little red dot had gone back down. I released the seal just to make sure nothing came out. And you're just gonna open it and your rice is ready to go. I think this has been a pretty easy way to make rice. I had a rice cooker for a while, and to be honest, I think this might be a little bit easier to deal with because I can put the stainless steel container into my dishwasher. But overall, I've been very happy with how the Instant Pot has cooked rice. So next, this is the one little tedious part that you have to do. You probably could do like a dry in bulk, but my sister likes to do this very accurately. So she lays out each individual cucumber on paper towels so that she can kind of press them and make sure as much moisture comes out as possible. I know this looks like a very tedious thing to do for cucumbers. However, these are some of the best marinated cucumbers I've ever had. So I think it's worth it. It may take a little bit of time. And we did do a large batch of these, a lot larger than we do usually if it's just us. She was taking some over to a friend's house. So it really doesn't usually take as long as it did on this day because like I said, we don't usually do quite as many at one time. So after all your cucumbers are laid out, you're going to want to take more paper towels and just press on the top. And as you can see, it's really pulling that water out of the cucumbers. That's literally all you want to do. You just want to get as much water out of the cucumbers as you possibly can. So you just take it, you press it, and then you let it sit. While your cucumbers are sitting in the paper towels, you can go ahead and get the marinade started. Now, I will link the recipe below that she uses, and I'm not sure if she is doing 3 times or 4 times the amount based on how many cucumbers she had, but the ratio is for every pound of cucumber, You're going to do 2 tablespoons of light soy sauce, or she actually uses the Japanese soy sauce that she gets from an Asian market here locally. And then 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar, a half a tablespoon of sugar, 2 cloves of garlic, and then a half a tablespoon of chili oil. She just gets the Trader Joe's chili oil. It's so good. You can put that on top of so many things. Highly recommend it. And then half of a tablespoon of sesame oil. Now, if you also don't like using soy sauce, you can use coconut aminos. We cook with coconut aminos all of the time, and it is like an option, a little bit healthier option than soy sauce. But for this, she did want to use, the authentic Japanese soy sauce from the local market. So once your cucumbers are good and dry and your marinade's complete, you're literally just going to put the cucumbers into the marinade and let them sit for a little while. So I do want to say with this recipe, you do need to start it a little bit earlier, but honestly, you can prep enough to where you can eat it for a couple days, and we've noticed that the cucumbers honestly just get better because they sit in the marinade a little bit longer. But yeah, you just literally add the cucumbers to the marinade, put it back in the fridge, and you just let it sit for however long you have or want. But I would think at least 30 minutes would be needed. So for this recipe, we were able to pre-make our rice and pre-make our cucumbers. So once it was time to eat, all we had to do was bake the salmon. And I'm using a pre-made glaze here. It's just one I picked up from Costco. I'll link it below. However, usually I do have a glaze that I make homemade. I just didn't have all the ingredients. I thought I did, but I didn't, so we pivoted. But I will link both below, and honestly, this glaze turned out delicious for it to be so easy as just kind of, squirting it on. And then about halfway through, I did go in and put a little bit more and then used a brush just to, make sure it's good and coated while it's baking. By the way, this brush is amazing. It's the Le Creuset brush, and you can just take it off and clean the top. It's just honestly so well made. But anyway, I checked the salmon, make sure it had come to temperature, and once it was good to go, we pulled it out and it was basically ready to eat. So once you're ready to eat, you're just gonna put some rice in the bowl, and I did mine fun. I just felt like it because, I was making this for YouTube, so put it in a bowl to make one of those rice mounds. But it's definitely not necessary to do that, but it did look nice. And then one thing you didn't see me heat up was edamame. We just do it in the microwave. You probably can do it on the stove top, but this is just what's easy. And so you just want to throw a little bit of that in the bowl. It gives such a great texture, added protein, and then you'll add some shredded carrots on the side. And all this is kind of optional. You can pick and choose what you like to have in your salmon bowl. And then of course we added those absolutely delicious cucumbers, and I definitely went back for more after I started eating because they're so good. They just have this crisp to them, and they're also a little bit sweet, a little bit spicy. They have this very well-rounded taste to them, and it just adds so much to the dish. And then of course you're gonna add your salmon, and I am weighing mine out. It's not because I'm trying to limit how much I eat. I actually like to make sure I get enough protein in my meals, just so I know that I'm getting what I need daily. Now, if you are a meal prep person, I think this is a great meal to meal prep. Overall, this meal is so good. It literally is one of my favorites at the moment. I absolutely recommend trying it. Like I said, you might want to start earlier on the rice and the cucumbers, but since you can pre-make those things, it really is pretty quick to throw together at dinner time.